just before I came to sit in the hot seat. Had a bit of a day nap. It's too grey over here. I don't know what it's like in Kamloops, but it's bucket and rain here in Edmonton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we haven't been able to interview anyone who is a musician. So, Alan Donnelly, we're really excited to interview you. We want
Well,
you to speak for all musicians. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah.
I'm
Okay.
here.
No pressure.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. Like, let's keep this going.
It's
I
all
think
right.
we're good under pressure. You're a musician, so being on stage and people demanding things of you, I think you'll be
Pressure, failure, anxiety levels. It's all part and parcel. Yeah.
okay. Um, I want to know what you've been going through as an artist, not being able to express yourself and play live the way you're so used to,
Mm,
The audience probably already realizes that you are not from Canada, you're Irish, and you
yeah.
have that awesome accent that
Well, thank
Canadians,
you.
we just eat that up, like British and Scottish and Irish and like anything in Wales, all these like European countries with an
Yeah.
accent, like we love it. Like women just think it's whew.
Well, I try not to take too much advantage of it. I am very conscious of the fact that as an Irish man, I speak very fast. So look, I've been here 2, maybe 3 years now. And even at this pace, this is really slow. So I've slowed down my pace, kept the accent as best I can. I haven't slipped in the A's or, for sure's. I've been saying a couple of for sure's at the end of it, but
You still got the accent.
I still got the accent. That's sorry. That's all I asked for. Uh, but yeah, to answer your question, I mean, no, creativity hasn't stifled. Yeah, the idea behind being out on stage live and to be, it's very much, I don't want to say a religious experience, but it's a ceremonious experience when you're, facing an audience and you're embracing them. And yeah, that's a big part of being a musician and live performance. But um having to be so introverted now in this for a year and a half, uh, you just have to adapt and think differently. I'm still making music. I'm still writing, still creating, but I find that you kind of, when anything that I've learned, you have to adapt to all sorts. So I've tipped my hat to doing a bit of podcasting, and still in the same vein of communicating with creatives. And we've spoken to on the podcast for what's called Raw Talks with yours truly, and we've spoken to industry professionals, photographers, musicians, um, and as the COVID situation had progressed, so too did our way of talking about what we did, because we couldn't do it in the normal veins. So what I took solace in was how people were adapting. As a musician, as a creative, you have to be somewhat entrepreneurial,
Yeah.
uh, and thinking outside the box. So when I think it was the second series that we did, the AWC calls, artistic wellness checks, and we touched in and out of both artists in Ireland and Europe and Canada and America, um, to get a vibe and on how they were dealing with it. I know from my perspective, I had to keep busy. When there was downtimes, idle hands and all that. So I found ways and means to keep myself, like with the podcast, with making music. It's important that you find ways to keep busy.
Wow, you're so inspiring. The audience doesn't know that, I've met you, I think before. Yeah.
I think
I
before it was a
don't
memorable
remember.
altercation.
I think we've met before.
We did,
I
we
hope
did. There
so.
was no drink involved. You were sober. I'm surprised you don't remember,
I
but it's
smoking some
okay.
probably. Just kidding.
Yeah, it was in Calgary.
It
We had
was,
the
yes,
pleasure.
yes. That's yeah, exactly. But it's just as a musician, I feel, not as a musician, but for musicians, I really feel for you guys. You can't perform live. I don't know how you're doing with that
Yeah.
aspect being taken away,
Well,
doing, well, saying, okay, I'll figure it out. But being a musician, part of that is performance.
yeah.
So how have you been finding with not being able to do that performance? Like you've been doing some online stuff. You just
Yeah,
released
the
a new
online.
song. So
I
you've been
haven't.
busy. That's good.
I haven't. Yeah, I found other ways to keep busy. I haven't, thrown myself into the virtual gigs, which, like, if you look at the side door, I know there's a local artist who's funny enough is Irish. Liz, shout out to Liz and all that. She's doing virtual gigs, and an awful lot of musicians that I know are doing that.
Yeah.
And it's another way of thinking on your feet. For me, I can't. It's being on stage and performing live. There's a buzz off that. I find it very stagnant when you're faced with a guitar and a camera and you're trying to sing. It's just a different thing for me. I wouldn't be a traditional, all-around great singer. More of a Dylan-esque wannabe. But that part of that is being able to interact with the audience. And the
Yeah.
virtual stuff is great. And there's a way of, there is already musicians and companies that are like Sidor, like I said, and other names escape me, but people are doing Eventbrites and gigs through Zoom. And
Yeah.
again, I would encourage musicians to look if they could affiliate themselves with, like, online businesses. Like I've known a group in Ireland that took over a man's suit makers. They took over the social media page, and it was a gig out of that, and there is ways of doing it, but you marry it up of what you want to do for yourself versus what you're willing to do for money. It's another day's work, another day's conversation. But yeah, look, again, personally speaking, I've been throwing myself into projects, which brings me kind of, suppose, like, I'm a musician, born and raised in Ireland, gigging in Dublin, with a band, and then went solo, and then I came over to Canada to try my hat over here, and I was lucky enough. I got to know these two guys, Dave Carlton. Then I didn't forget their names. Just to put that, Dave Carlton and Mike Twitty. We collectively we formed a band over here called the Reckless Consensus, and we've recently joined. Is that a dog I hear in the background?
There is. I'm just like trying to shut him up. He's all excited.
It's all right.
Not to
Oh,
worry.
look at you. Is that a Chihuahua?
He is pretty cute. You want to see him? His name's Ray Lou.
Ah, he's gorgeous. Hello, what's his name?
Ray Lou. It's Romanian.
Ray Lou. That's
Ray
a beautiful name.
He says he'll be quiet for you, and that he's sorry.
Good. No, he can sing with me next time. But no, we got together. We started, like, I had a handful of songs, actually more than a handful. I had a lot of songs that I cultivated over the last 2 years, and stuff I've written before. Excuse me, before I came here. So we worked on a lot of material, and then we got into the studio with Will Conway. Shout out to Will, and we kind of produced what will be our EP, which we plan on releasing in the summer. And to touch on how do you keep yourself sane and kind of, I suppose, wanting to still be creative. We ended up in the vein of collaborating. I worked with the Nanaimo Contemporary Ballet in another project. Chantel Norris is the music director for that. And we reached out and I said, would you be interested in working again on a project? So I wrote a song called Heart, Moon, Sun, which would be forgiven to think that it's a love song, but it's not. It's about the idea of, again, staying creative, not losing your way, not being derailed in any way, whether it be COVID or otherwise, other reasons. Staying creative and moon and sun being the idea of just being, just existing and thriving and going on. So the ballet company are in the process of choreographing a big
song.
Yeah, to the song. So, like, I got a clip of it. I won't lie, I had tears in my eyes to see the first 30 seconds being worked on. And again, shout out to everybody in the Nanaimo Contemporary Ballet, and Tim West, who's on board with it, Dianne Gibson, who's a designer. I'm throwing names at you because it's again,
want to hear it. Who's a part of it?
It's important because it's what I touched on. I want to believe in is that, especially in the music industry, as it moves on, that pyramid becomes a lot more narrower. So the idea of hubbing all other creatives, and it doesn't have to be musicians. I'm talking about videographers, photographers, like designers, dancers. We're building a little guerrilla style creative army, and and hubbing together and trying ideas and being creative. That's why when I had the song, passed it to them, and I wanted them to do something, and they took it. They're running with it, and yeah, that's exciting. That's
Yeah,
what
that's a
I
big deal.
have been finding. Yeah. So sorry,
So
I went
what
on
are
a
they
major rant there. I
doing?
apologize.
Oh no, I didn't even. I'm just like baffled. Oh my goodness, that's a ballet company choreographing your music. Like that'll be really cool. You have always an Irish sound,
Mm,
European sound to your songs. And I
mm,
love that you've kept that. And I don't know if you could even not. Your sound is so like Irish, anyways. Like even if you're trying not to, because
yeah.
we've noticed like with Canadians with the accent, like sometimes when people sing when they have accents, there is no accent, and sometimes there is. It's very variant on the person. But I saw that you recently put out a cover of a traditional song, and
Mhm.
I was gonna play it for the audience a little bit here, if you so to speak.
That's
The sound I think cuts out for when I'm playing on the podcast,
all right.
but
We can
we'll clip it in there. But
that's no problem.
let's talk about that. I thought that was kind of
Mm.
neat. Was that a meaningful song to you to put out?
Yeah, well, it's a cover song of an old traditional. It was a poem originally that the Dubliners then took and made a song of. But it's as I said, our take on it. It's a cover. I kind of it's so different to the composition of the original, and that because that song is so iconic to Irish people, to
Yeah.
maybe to people that they have their own sentiment to it. We took it and made it a little bit different, but still acknowledging its the
Yeah.
power behind it. It's about the 1916 Rising. Ireland itself has got its own history. It's rife with its own. The British and the Irish have its own history in itself. But yeah,
Yeah. Let's
it's
get into
salted.
that.
Yeah. We that's another day's work yet again, like I say. But that song, yeah, it meant an awful lot to be covering it. And then the boys, like I say, the drummer Dave put this almost what we have in Ireland. It's called a baron. It's just a round drum. It's made out of goat skin, I think, and it's played with a pencil style stick, and it's played in a specific way. But Dave was able, without realizing it himself, was able to kind of almost replicate that in his drumming. Dave or Mike got on the bass and played this unique, almost Paul Simon-esque out of Graceland,
Yeah.
that bass line. And again, it's that like kind of melting pot of sound that still holds true to what I represent in terms of being Irish. I kind of left my accent in there hanging out for all to hear. But then bringing different styles in there, and it's got its own thing, but it's still got an Irish sound in some ways, So
Yeah, what would you say
so
you categorize your sound?
it's a
Irish
funny one
rock,
because
kinda?
we yeah, it's
I
got
don't
Irish roots. You can't avoid
Yeah.
that. That's funny you talk about the accent. Like, not that it's intended. I try and keep it as much as I can, but you can't help sometimes for it being diluted because most people would naturally tend to sing in a kind of an American accent or something close to. But no, our sound is we're going for a folky vibe
Yeah,
with,
folk
but
rock, yeah,
it's
totally.
laden with there's a bit of funk thrown into some of the songs we've done. There's blues, rock, traditional Irish, but it's a melting pot really. And we're only a three piece, but out of the three, we bring a wall of sound as much as we try. We try and fill those pockets. Whether it's Twitty doing some fills with his guitar, with his bass, like he's quite nimble for a bassist, and then Dave has got some intricacies in his own drumming style, which is, I'm quite lucky to be, working with these lads, and I hope they say vice versa. But it's a unique sound, but it's similar. You can clearly see and hear in some of the songs we do where our influence stem from. I hope. Yeah. But,
the band itself, how long have you guys been together, and what's kind of the story about how you guys got together?
Well, when I got here to Canada, I found myself working the Monday to Friday Dolly Parton shift in the insurance game.
Mm.
And that's where I met Dave. And then Mike joined from another company to the company that I worked in. And we met there. And through conversations, we learned that we all kind of, we're passionate about music. We enjoy making it. Me and Dave started hooking up, and I was playing some stuff I was working on. And then we played it really for Mike through conversation, and he liked it, laid something on one of my original tracks, and we found something that was kind of cool. So we that was about 2 years ago, maybe two, yeah, 2 years. So we're probably 6-7 months in building up something, and then really only understanding what that something was probably 8 months, 9 months, and then we're slowly, and then it's just as soon as we were finding our feet.
Oh, COVID hit.
And we couldn't go gigging. Everybody was a little bit concerned, and then it got progressively
Worse.
more concerning. And then we took a break. And as I said, if there's anything that I've always, wanted to bang the drum on, is the importance of just never giving up. I know that's something that's so cliched. It sounds so.
People need to hear this. I want you to share more about this kind of stuff with people, because during the time I'm here with is very artist centered, and there's a lot of talk about how people want to give up and they're sad. Like, people need inspiration that, hey, things are going to look up and to plan. I had talked with another lady today about this topic, and she said, same thing, guys, don't give up. But everyone has their own motivation of how and why to what they're doing, and not to give up. What is yours?
I don't. It's funny when I hear, when I hear those things of don't give up, believe in yourself. I am the type of personality to kind of cringe against it and not turn my nose up, but like it doesn't.
So cliche to say it,
So, but that's the thing. And that's not to sound in any way cocky or whatever way negative. It's more so. It's just it doesn't float my boat. Whatever gets me out of bed and makes me sit over here and make something. I don't know what it is. It's just this burning desire not to go off the face of this earth without having some form of an impact, without leaving some aroma of myself being here, just to say that I existed, and I presented something that was interpreted as valuable, artistically. Because when I first started, I was always into drawing and painting, and I progressed. I wanted to learn music and learn the guitar, and like I was envious of people who were kids and could play, because they had lessons. And I taught myself at about 22, 23 how to play the guitar.
Oh, wow. A little bit later in life,
yeah, that's the thing. And everything has been later in life for me. Like, it's always been a slow burn, and with the podcasting, it's if you want to do something, you feel you can have, a go at it. Like, I have no place in being in the podcasting world. No place, in my opinion.
And who is to say that now, right? Everybody.
But that's the thing. The world and its mother has a podcast now at this stage. But I just, because it's actually funny. I heard a podcast called Up and Vanished, completely different to the Joe Rogan style or this long form conversation. It's funny. I wasn't inspired by that. It was actually, the inspiration was hearing a podcast called Up and Vanished, a true crime.
Nice.
And I got engulfed in that, and I was interested to think, how do they put this together? I love the cinematic vibe that they put to it, where they told a story and there was music in the background that helped add to that. So, I ended up doing something that wasn't a true crime, that was more interviewing artists and stuff like that. But I wanted to incorporate music, and like when the Raw Talks initially started.
Yes, you were all a part of that. Yes, I remember.
Yeah. But that was so I thought the idea of a podcast stemming from that would be fantastic. Yeah. But then with the COVID situation, the AWC calls, though it was surprising to me, because what I did was I put a call out for submissions to artists, anyone, like even sports personalities, everybody, to submit something. And they did. They were submitting their music, the stuff that they were making through COVID, poetry, spoken poems, spoken word.
Wow.
I was bowled over with the amount of interest to partake in something, because at that time nobody knew how to deal with this solitude. Now we've become quite adapted to the idea of, I have to stay at home for this period because it's the norm now,
No, yeah.
but that period where we were like, what was it, March,
Evil.
where lockdowns were starting to percolate and build up, and like I myself was like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do, and that's how, reaching out to people. I suppose if there's any piece of advice that I throw out there is that never be afraid to kind of fail. Like, that's the key. And again, sounds like another cliched phrase, but it's so imperative and so important that if you feel that you want to do something and you feel you could do something good with it, well, don't beat around the bush,
Yeah, I do that sometimes with my dreams. Yeah.
And we're all like, there's nobody superior to that. Everybody has that element of doubt, anxiety, or they feel they're not good enough. But to be honest, who cares? Like with the podcast, like I say, I don't feel naturally I belong in it, but I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it anyway because I wanted to, and
I wanted to connect with people, I think.
just wanted to keep myself busy without like going into bed and sleeping for the like 2-3. I'll stay up to 4 o'clock. Now, mind you, I'll share with this with you. I was going through a bit of stomach issues, and I was prescribed not anabolic steroids, normal medicating steroids, which kept me like wired. Like I had so much energy. So I conducted 16 interviews in the space of a week. And then I had to
interview. I know what that takes. So yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
But you get this level of inspiration to do it, and then you realize you have to do more work after, and then the steroids wore off, and I was like, I can't do any more editing. So
took a break.
It took a while, but it got there. But yeah, never ever stop believing in yourself. Even if you don't really believe in yourself at the time, you'll find that belief if you keep persevering.
Yeah, I agree. That's so wonderful you said that. Thank you so much, Alan. That's so cool. We used to have a dear friend that was, he was our best friend in life, and his name was Alan. So I just feel so happy to say the name today. I feel like, oh, good. And what you said was so inspiring. I love that, like, to the heart. But you're also like, from a different place. Growing up in Europe, you were so, everyone is affected by media and what, is surrounding them and the cultures and everything. And Ireland and, England and Europe of any sort, they have more of like a life structure and a different thought. Family is a big thing out there too. And like eating together and working hard together and like living together for a while. Like it's just a different lifestyle. Like, do you miss, your family back home? Like what's going on?
Of course. Yeah, of course I do. Like, I mean, like there's a difference between the humor in Ireland versus the humor in Canada. And like, you got to say that you guys aren't funny. You guys are funny. It's just I can get away with certain things. I have to be kind of mindful. Like, for example, the word crack has a different connotation and meaning.
Yes, there are many different words that you guys use.
Like you can't say I'm going out to have the crack because people over here.
Drugs.
But crack in Ireland is CRAIC, which means fun. You're just going out to have some fun.
Oh, wow.
So, well, there's a word to the wise for that. But
everyone thinks you do crack. Oh, Jesus.
That's
so funny. Who told you that? Like when you came to Canada, I bet you did that all the time with hearts around and like saying stuff. They're like, oh, we don't say that here.
I used to get funny looks. It was like, oh, what do you do for crack here? And people are like, I was like, oh, no. Just there was an awkward pause. And because God bless you, you're too polite to say anything. You just sat there and judged. So there was this element of,
we're not that nice, or just don't say anything.
Yeah, it was just let me walk around saying crack, crack, crack every 5 seconds, and all I was getting was just weird looks. And I don't, but I learned that someone quite rightly pointed out that we don't understand what you mean when you say crack. Are you talking about drugs? So I had to clarify that quickly. But one of many things that got lost in translation since I've been in Canada, like I say, I've had to slow down the pace of my but
you had to change a lot, since you've been here, like your whole being of how you behave and communicate with people. It's been a struggle, I think.
Yeah,
it's some sort of struggle.
Yeah, kind of. It's just that you kind of learn, you adapt, you move on. But it's almost like when you grow, as you're born and you grow up, you just pick on these things. It depends on the person, I suppose. But from my perspective, I've always been a studier of my surrounds, subconsciously perhaps, and then making adjustments accordingly. But always being true to maybe the essence of who I am, which is this loud, abrupt, well-meaning, big-hearted Irishman. You know, I don't mean any ill will. It all comes from a good place.
Oh, you've got such kind eyes. I can see anyone who's watching this will be like, oh, what a guy. He's very nice. Well, I see that you have a song for me, and you were thinking of playing.
I don't know where you saw that.
I saw a little birdie told me that you might.
Well, that birdie can fly off.
What would you think of playing a song for us?
Well, I don't know. Hold on. Well, I just so happen to have a guitar here, but
he just so happens to have a guitar, guys. He just so happens.
But I'm not really warmed up.
Not warmed up, guys.
I tell you what I'll do. I'll do a quick verse and chorus of what we're looking at releasing.
Show us a sneak peek. We'd like to hear a little something.
Just gonna let something.
I know everyone pressures that, for musicians. They're like, okay, play. And you're just like, wait, it's art. Like, I do it when I want to. Okay, here we go.
No, you're right. There's an element of suck it up, buttercup, and perform if you think you're so.
Well, because people, they want to, when they're with you, they want to be like, it's about the story, actually. I don't know if musicians know this. When you're like with a musician and they play for you, then you like that memory of them playing for you is like, we got a little concert. We got a connection with you that's deeper than just hearing it on the tune on the radio.
I never saw it like that, and I appreciate
so people
that.
Like, oh my God, Alan like totally played a song for me when I asked him. Like, people will be excited from this one for sure.
Well, okay. What I'll do is I'll do a quick verse and chorus of what we're going to be doing in June. Hopefully, it's going to be. We haven't got an official release date for it, but Heart Moon Sun we hope to have all boxed away for certainly by July and out there. But we'll give you a little bit of a tease for the verse and the chorus. So it's Heart Moon Sun. Through the desert sands, I fell upon my knees, searching for something that was right in front of me. She plays amongst the stars. I'm planted firmly in my field, feeling the distance between. But should I let it? Yeah, I wanna get it free. Don't fail me now. Falling into her arms wide open now. Here we fail to lose what we've got here and now. And all we need's a little heart, moon and the sun. Yeah, heart and moon and the sun.
Awesome. That's a hit song, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate
that's real, like,
I appreciate.
Oh my gosh, that's radio friendly for sure. Yeah.
Well, we'll see how it goes. It proves in the pudding when we kick it off there, but we wait with bated breath. We're just waiting on the video to be done, and hopefully everybody likes it.
Yeah, you got to put it out. I like it. I like it a lot. Very folky, that one. I like it.
Yeah, it's got a vibe there, but with the production, thanks to the boys that we worked with, there's a different, it's brought it to life. There's a bit of piano going on and all the other stuff, but yeah, true to the heart of the idea of folk, but telling a story is what we like to do.
That's so amazing. Well, Alan Donnelly, thank you so much for your time. Now that we've got to know you a little bit more, please let us know when you put out any music, anything that you want to talk about, you let us know. And thank you for 100%. Your insight about truly believing in yourself is
100%.
You think that sounds?
No, I don't think it's
It's
corny.
not.
I just think when I talk about believing in myself, I feel like I sound like a fool. But when other people do it, not so much. But
Yeah.
what I will say is, actually, I forgot to say this.
Yes.
Whilst we're focusing on the music and we are doing that, we're also building up a podcast with the boys too, called the Reckless
Oh.
Consensus Podcast. You must come on. So what the
Oh,
premise?
goodness gracious. I've got so many people that I would have on this show. Like I'm
Yeah.
always like connecting with, because
Yeah.
of a magazine and PR I do.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
believe me, I'll be like,
But we'll hopefully
Too
have
much.
the first episode out soon enough. It's we have to release. The idea is just we reach a reckless consensus on any given subject that the fans throw out at us. So that's the idea. And when I say fans, I mean my mom, my dad, and the first two other people that know. But hopefully that builds up, you know. But yeah, no, I appreciate the time, Jill, and all the great work that you do. Very much appreciated.
Too kind. How does somebody actually connect with you then if they want to, you know, hopefully have you, you know, your song for TV or something? That's what you should do next, is get CBC to put your product on their shows, because that song's really friendly for that feel, and right now feeling is like that needs to come out for sure.
Yeah,
But
a bit
how
of
does
positivity.
somebody connect with you?
Well, we've got our Facebook and we've got our Instagram, which is the Reckless Consensus. I think is that the. I actually am really bad. Which is it's a handle. Is that what you call them? Handles.
Yes, handle. You're right.
And then, but if you can, so I think it's the Reckless Consensus. But our website, we do a website, Reckless Consensus.
I know you took the tongue twister.
Recklessconsensus.com is our website. You can definitely make contact with us there. So that's another avenue.
And if they want to be on the podcast with you, they can just every avenue you answer, like you're pretty good with that stuff.
100%. Yeah, you can reach us through the website. We have a ways and means keeping tabs on it, and then our social media. We're open to anybody popping on there, throwing us a question, asking us anything they want. It's fair game to a degree. Get in contact with us. We're here to chat.
Yeah, I've wanted to get on your podcast since it started, and I was listening to it and I was like, damn, this is more professional than mine. He's got like a little intro and the music, like it's really professional. So well done. You make your people look great. So thank you so much, Alan, for being on I'm Here With, and we're excited to share your music.
Excellent. Thank you
Actually,
again.
you know what's too crazy that we just did this interview is that if I included in something, you might be able to get on a radio show, or I maybe get you on another show I do called Christine Blanchett, and has a specific music show actually that goes on TELUS. So I will see what I can do about getting you when you're ready. You let me know, and we can get you on a radio show and her show, which is connected to me for many
awesome, Jill. Yeah.
So I believe in you, and we're here to support you.
I appreciate that, Jill. Yeah, hopefully we'll have something. I was going to try and get another song, but I don't know if that's going to work out because I don't have the mastering's quite done yet. But certainly, as soon as I get all the other stuff sorted with Hartman and Son, we'll get that sorted.
Cool. Well, no rush. Art takes time, and people, you know, we get it sweeter as we age.
100%. I like that. I like that very much. Well, cheers, Jill. That was freaking amazing.